Hello, hello. Happy, was it Wednesday? Is it Wednesday? Yes, it is Wednesday. I had to think about that. Happy Wednesday, everybody. If you are on here, please get those likes up. Get those likes up, tag anybody, or share this with someone that you think may find it interesting. Um, yeah, get those likes up, y'all. I just want to say one of the things I love about this community we got on YouTube is that you guys always give me good things to talk about. I don't even need to really go that far. I don't need to do a whole bunch of different research to come up with interesting topics. So I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I've mentioned before. Just when it comes to the relationship, the dating market, just some of the different things that I have noticed, particularly about how women online react, respond, what we talk about, what's celebrated, what's popular, all of that kind of different stuff. And so the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I think it's important. I think it's important that we address this and really start to understand that the way we behave online as women and the way that we behave online, just as adults in general, but especially as women, if you're hoping to engage and have romantic relationships, is really important. It is really, really important. Hey, Hakeem, what's going on, Hakeem? Um, yeah, so I wanted to get into this just a little bit. Again, guys, if you're on here, get those likes up. Also, if you'd like to show support to the show, you can find me on CASHAPP or VENMO, Chez, Chardé. Also, super chats are open. I will do my best to acknowledge all super chats. I see Demetrius Shea. I saw that post he made with the strawberry muffins. Do you have an at-home bakery or something? You know what? That is goals. I would say that would be a goal of mine. I absolutely love cooking. I do love cooking, and you know what? Just to be perfectly honest, there was one time that I considered being a chef. I considered going to culinary school right out of high school, and then what happened though was that I worked in the restaurant all throughout college, and I was like, yeah, I want to have a life. I want to have, a family and a marriage. So maybe I won't own my own restaurant, but I just love food. I love creating different things, trying different things, exploring different things. That's always been a passion of mine. So yeah, so it's something I hope to do more of. Yes, yes, yes. Maybe one of these days I'll have like ChezCharde creations or something like that. That'd be fun because, like I said, that's always something I've tried to figure out. How can I incorporate my love for culinary and cooking and things like that into what I do? So you give me some good ideas here. But she makes it look so professional. Yeah, like I said, I literally worked. I worked at $1 million golf club. I used to work with different caterers, different chefs and things like that. So I have my little experience in the culinary realm. So, anyways, but as I get sidetracked, again, if you're on here, guys, get those likes up. So, I wanna turn briefly to this post that I did. Like I said, you guys are such great aspects of inspiration for me. Yeah, you can do it, Chez. Yeah, no, I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Those people who know me, like my friends, family, they know that I love to experiment. And the thing about cooking is that sometimes you get it right, and sometimes you just totally and utterly fail. But it's okay. Like I said, I try to have fun with it, and I will say the thing about trying to eat healthy and be healthy in general. Totally going on a tangent here. The thing about that is it really, really, truly is a commitment. It is truly a commitment. It is so much easier to just go to a drive-through, some DoorDash, get some frozen pizza, get some frozen chicken nut. Like that's just so much easier. So really trying to have healthy food, nutritious food that actually is worth eating. It literally does take a commitment, y'all. And you can really have good, healthy, nutritious food that's nutrient dense, that is flavorful, that you're excited about, that you look forward to. It just takes commitment and it takes practice. So like I said, that's just I've been on my whole food health journey for a long time. I first diet when I was like in sixth grade, and like I said, I've loved food since I was a girl. So I had to figure out how to still love food and still how to have fun with it while trying to learn things that weren't going to keep me, unhealthy. So, anyways, so again, let me go back to what I was saying before. Now, I want to turn briefly to something that I shared on the community post. Surprise, surprise. Let's see if I can bring it up. And so we were talking about just something I have noticed in general among lovely, lovely, lovely women of today. And this is specifically when it comes to what's happening online, really what's just happening in the media space in general, but just our behavior. So I posted this about 6 days ago, and I got some really good feedback. And again, anytime I have really good feedback or comments, it kind of lets me know that this is a topic that I need to explore, or at the very least, try to talk about. So here, what did I say? It says basically, men are attracted to loyal women. Well, duh, like I said, this shouldn't be rocket science, but either way, men are attracted to loyal women. Shouldn't this be common sense? Then here, this is a tweet that I shared maybe a week or two ago. It says, do black women who openly hate black men know that our other races of men see us and judge us based upon this? So you guys, is my here's my concern with some of the different things that I consistently see online, especially among us lovely black women, right? I will preface it by saying this. It is okay. It is absolutely okay for women in particular to share, to have spaces, to have places where they share maybe traumatic situations they've had with men, different challenges they've had with men, different challenges they've had in the dating and mating market. It is totally okay to do that. So I'm never going to say that, oh, a woman cannot complain or a woman cannot share different struggles she's had in the dating relationship market. That would be silly. That would be silly. You need to have those places and they need to be constructive. What I will say though is that oftentimes what I see online and what many of you guys have seen online over the years is just male bashing. It's just downright old school profit making male bashing. It's just simply what it is. Men are trash, men are dusties, these men don't want to do this, these men are, they're not worth it, they're, yeah, just fill in the blank. You guys have all seen it. You may have even been on the brunt end of those attacks. But either way, we've created this culture where it's just very popular to just basically bash men online, especially in the black population. Like I said, there is so much money to be made off of, like I said, bashing and sometimes downright disrespecting the men in our community. And as I've said this before, and I'll say it again, the issue with this is that we as black women have such horrible PR. Like we have trash PR. Like our reputations, whether or not, now we can talk about why, whether or not this is a result of racism or old stereotypes, or whether or not it's a result of, propaganda, or whether or not it is our own behavior. We can talk about why, but either way, we have horrible PR. Our reputations as women, especially when it pertains to our abilities to be in relationship, our desirability as women, it is trash. It is not good. Most people do not think about, oh, I want to marry. They're thinking about the most quality, best option. And unfortunately, black women do not necessarily come up in that conversation. Now, of course, I'm not saying there are lovely black women that I know who are beautiful women. I know beautiful good-hearted women of all ethnic backgrounds. So I'm not saying that this is all Black women are bad. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying if we are being honest, we know that we don't have a good reputation as a collective. We know this. This is not rocket science. Any and everybody knows this. So what I'm saying is, we're already entering the conversation with a really bad reputation as it is. When we as women go and we now openly share messages that are just like I said, they're misandrist, or it's just the typical male bashing. We kind of get into that sister girl talk. That classic sister girl talk where about men are the problem, men are trash, yada 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 yada. When we just do that, there's no checks and balance. We support one another. We're sending super chats, cash apps. We're sharing those videos. We're sharing those channels as a way to emotionally maybe make ourselves feel better, as a way to, I don't know, get some emotional support. What we don't understand is that other people are seeing that. Other groups of men are they're seeing that. They're taking note at how we treat one another. And for those, for better or for worse, for those who don't actually necessarily have experience with Black people in the real life, they generally turn to social media. They're going to turn to the next best thing they have to them, television or social media. So like I said, if we have such a trashy reputation already, and then you go online and then we see some of these things being perpetrated, celebrated, funded by us, we as women are openly talking about, putting our dirty laundry out there, right? Or just bashing men out there, doing it for sport. That is not making us look attractive. The men aren't looking at us, especially if we want to divest or if we want to, swirl, we want to date and marry out. Men of other ethnic groups are not looking at us as prizes. They're not saying, oh, wow, look at the way that she, I don't know, berates her men. Or wow, look at the way that she, tells off her men. Or oh, wow, look at the way that she tells truth about her men. I want her. She turns me on. Like, bring her over here. Like, men aren't, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. So what I'm saying, like, what we don't understand is that when we do this and we get into this whole this sister girl nationalism talk, you know what I mean? Or we as women, kind of create these, we celebrate this kind of behavior as if it's normal. And like I said, openly sharing complaints or concerns, I think in constructive manners and constructive spaces is different than just bad. There's a clear difference. But when we celebrate kind of like the bashing, just the, telling all the problems, talking about all the problems, really with no resolution, really with no self accountability, it just makes us look bad. It just makes us look bad. And as I mentioned before, I think so many of us we're not used to an honest look in the mirror. We're not used to, sitting with ourselves and maybe acknowledging where we have maybe done something wrong, where we have maybe even played a part in the destruction of a previous relationship. We're not even used to that like I said, we've made a sport of pointing the finger. And I do think, honestly, that some of this is just trolling. I do think there's legitimately profiles out there who are just their main focus, their main intention is to just go into basically sow discord among communities, to create chaos. So I recognize that. I do recognize that there are agents of chaos, agents who have, bad intentions. So that does exist. But apart from that, like I said, when we celebrate certain kinds of behavior online and we don't check it or we don't understand what that is doing for us as a collective, it hurts our options in the long run. It just hurts our options in the long run. Yeah, I see Summer doing it for money. I said, yep, I see. I already, yep, I see already, and no troll. Yeah, yeah. So that's really what I wanted to talk about, because again, I would never say to a woman, first of all, I would never say, when I'm talking about this idea of loyalty, first of all, I'm not saying, yeah, women, you need to go and just be loyal to all men, default. I'm not saying that. I would never encourage a woman to just blindly, you know, act like a bumbling idiot buffoon and just follow any old dude that has no vision, that has no purpose, that is maybe mean, that is evil, that has his own brokenness. I'm not saying that you just have to be just loyal to every single person just because he's a man. Like, no, that's obviously that's not what I'm saying. It's not common sense. That's just silly. When I'm talking about in the context of being in a relationship, right, and being loyal to a long-term partner, husband, something like that, of course, you're supposed to go through the vetting process, right? You want to make sure that person has good character. You want to make sure that there's a mutual level of understanding and respect. So the thing about it is, I think so many of us are we're so in our trauma response that anytime we mention men, loyalty, men, respect, men, authority, men, and anytime we mention any of those words and there's men in the sentence, there's this immediate trauma response, as if I or anyone who was even associating with that is basically saying that, oh, you need to put yourself in a situation to be abused. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. And I need to reiterate, because again, anytime I say, oh, men should be, you can be loyal to your men. Oh, you can honor them. It's just like, oh, well, you're saying that we got to go with men who bash us. Nobody's saying that. You're being silly. At that point, you're now assuming that all men are going around bashing women. This is not true. So if your assumption is that literally all men go around all the time calling women German shepherds, as I see a comment in there saying, bashing men, saying different things, it's like, first of all men don't do that. Second of all, if those are the kind of men that you around, maybe it's time to change your circle. Listen, I will say this as myself. There have been, even online, I've had primarily on YouTube, I get a lot of pushback from women on YouTube mostly. On Twitter, I've gotten a lot of pushback from men. I've had men who, as soon as I say something they don't agree with, maybe it's a historical fact, maybe it's me sharing something about history, whatever. There's been many men that I have had to block because they have been downright misogynist, literally downright misogynist. They've said things about violence. They've insinuated things about physical harm. Like, so I'm not acting like all men are perfect. I'm not acting like this hasn't happened. Like I said, this has happened to me personally, right? I've gotten disrespect from women online. I've gotten disrespect from men online. So let me be clear about that. But again, I am not saying, no one is ever saying, be loyal to dusty, disrespectful men. No one is saying that. And like I said, women, if that is your immediate response, if you're listening to that, you've got to recognize that you have a trauma response probably at that point. You are automatically associating men with harm, men with violence, and you probably should check that out. Maybe that's something to unpack with a therapist. Maybe that's something to unpack with, I don't know, a spiritual pastor or something, whatever it may be. But either way, you're having a trauma response at this point. You're probably rejecting, and you're not even hearing what I'm saying. If you're on here, please get those likes up, y'all. Get those likes up. Likes are free. Also, if you would like to show support, you can find me on CASHAPP or VENMO, Chez, Chardé. Also want to give a special shout out to Hakeem for the 750. Again, there you are, just being super supportive. I appreciate you. Truly, I do. This is why I was a sponsor of the week. Also want to give a special shout out to Deanie, who's sponsor of the week. I don't know if he's here. He may not be here yet, but y'all, he's been another super supporter, as I like to put him. He's been just a great overall commenter, supporter, sharer, contributor, all of the above. So I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate you for just rocking with me, for having these conversations. Yeah, I appreciate it. So anyways, again, just to reiterate, I am not saying, and I will never say, that women should blindly be loyal to men. Never said that. I have been firsthand experienced the misandry, or not the misandry. I have firsthand experienced the misogyny online. Okay, but this is, again, going back to my earlier point. It is far too common for us. It is far too common for us as women, I think, to just accept this behavior as normal. It is doing this because we already have a reputation as Black women in particular of being combative, of not knowing how to get along well. Because we already have that reputation, we're digging ourselves in a hole when we continue this culture. We're digging ourselves in the hole when we reinforce and we celebrate a culture and make sport of, and like I said, create petitions and videos and entire platforms that are specifically dedicated to empowering ourselves at the expense of our men. I don't think we understand how that is damaging us. I don't think we understand how we're damaging us. And to be clear, because I see a few people in the comments. Again, you guys, today we're focusing on women. I'm not saying that men don't have their own issues. They absolutely do. I'm not a man, so I'm not going to sit here and try to teach men how to be men. That's not my place. I've brought men on who have shared different things about how men can improve. I will continue to do so. But I am a woman, so I'm not going to sit here and try to say, oh man, we need to man up and do X, Y, Z, A, B, and C. It takes men to do that. I'm a woman. We have enough things on our own end, I think, that we can address. And so this is why I am choosing to focus today on what I see happening primarily among women. Also, just to be honest, I see this being widely supported and widely funded. So if you're here because you want to hear what men can do in order to improve in this particular conversation, you might be better off going to somewhere in the manosphere and going to a channel that is led by a man, because like I said, I think they would be better suited on teaching men how to be men. That is not my specialty. So just to be clear. Just to be clear. So yeah, so you guys, that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, we have a bad reputation as ladies, but whether or not we think it's good or bad, or we can argue about the historical reasons as to why. Nevertheless, we do, and we don't do ourselves any good when we support behavior, when we support misandrous behavior. Petitions. How many petitions have we seen that have been instituted and instigated and started by Black women that are going against different men, different things that are happening from men in our community? That makes us look bad. I mean, we can argue about whether or not we agree or not. It makes us look bad. And just all I'm saying is that we have a really bad PR. I mentioned this before in a previous live, where it's like, for example, Asian women marry out at like the most. I think they have like the highest interracial rate of anyone, or at least are like the top two. They name Asian women in particular marry out more than most, if not all, people groups. But no, we don't ever hear anyone going on talking about, oh, well, Asian women are so disloyal. Like, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see huge movements, you know what I mean, against Asian women. I don't really see huge movements from the Asian community bashing Asian women and saying this, and that. Like, they do what they do. And that's not to say, hey, they may have issues with their men in their community. They may have different things that they don't like, which is why there's a proportion of them who are wearing out more. Who knows? I can only speculate. But either way, they have a pretty good reputation. They have a reputation to the point to where you got men in the manosphere across the white manosphere, the Black manosphere, whatever. And they are consistently portrayed as women who are great options if a man is deciding to date and marry out. They have good reputations. Like, we can argue as to why, but that's so that's what I'm saying. Although their behavior, as far as their marrying behavior, could arguably be considered to be the least loyal, yet their reputation is showing something different. So why is that? Why is that? Why is it that although they marry out more, we don't see all this garbage online really about them when it comes to how they act in relationships outside of relationships? You know what I mean? So again, I'm not saying I have the answer to that, but that's my bigger point. Is it's like, again, if you're looking at the collective, the community, we see a particular trend, but the way that they're acting, responding online, it seems to be a lot different than what I'm seeing online at least within the Black YouTube space, where there's just all this bickering and fighting, and we as women are undermining ourselves by promoting dissentious behavior when we already are known for being dissentious and we are already known for being combative. I hope I'm making sense. So again, if you're on here, y'all, get those likes up. So I wanted to preface that before going quickly into these comments, because like I said, I think I always like to unpack. Just to be fair, y'all, I can't review every comment. I do my best, y'all. I really do my best to try to engage, but at a certain point, sometimes the comments just get too toxic. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to peace out. At Other times it's just I don't have time. So I will be honest and say I definitely try to prioritize, especially members. I make sure to try to acknowledge the comments of channel members. But just to be clear, if I do my best to try to engage with all of you guys, if I miss you, it's not because I don't like you. There's just too much going on. But I wanted to go into just to see some of the different things people are saying about this whole comment because, like I said, the idea of women, essentially women being loyal. When I say loyal, loyal to the men in their lives, behaving in such a way that don't make us look like fools, right? Behaving in such a way to where our reputations, at the very least, are known for being respectful and honoring. This is all I'm talking about. This is just common sense. Men like loyal women. Period. This is not complicated. This is not rocket science. This is not something we got to sit down and have do a peer reviewed scientific study. This is not complicated. Men like loyal women. Like it's just period. It just is what it is. So y'all let me know if I'm making sense. Hope I'm making sense. Also, shout out to Rod H with the 299 super sticker. I do appreciate you. I appreciate you. Okay. So I'm just going to go a little deeply into these comments because, like I said, I think this kind of just gives you an idea of just where people are at. This is where people are at with this. So I pinned this one. He's another pretty solid commenter, Johnny Romaine Thomas. It says, other groups are amused, entertained, judgmental, astonished, bewildered, and are giggling at Black women and Black men due to the foolishness we engage in amongst ourselves. Could not agree more. Like I said, the amount of bickering and complaining and fighting, unfortunately, that is what gets that's what gets paid, that's what gets funded. I don't think some of this is just us. Like I mentioned before, I legitimately think that there are people, there are, there's agents of chaos who are in there who are paid operatives. I think there's some of that. There's the algorithm. There's just people who like mess and drama. So there's a whole bunch of different reasons that certain things, certain kinds of content gets more views, gets pushed out more, gets more supports. And nevertheless, unfortunately, it tends to be the drama. I mean, even if we think of Maury, I think he just said he's about to finally retire. But if you look at his early years of Maury, he was doing a lot more educational, balanced, constructive stuff. And then eventually he just got to where it was all, you were the baby's daddy, you ain't the baby daddy kind of stuff. And why? Probably because the baby mama, baby daddy drama was what was getting the views. It was the same with Jerry Springer. Like when he started off, if I'm not mistaken, his stuff was pretty positive. You know what I mean? His television, it was more constructive, like looking at things that are going to be beneficial. It wasn't getting the views. What was getting the views was all the drama and the fighting and so it's like some of this stuff, as he mentioned here, he said keyword amused. Keyword amused. I don't know what it is, but something about the drama and something about the backbiting and fighting, people get amused for it. And so I think there is a reason that we do see certain behavior either being promoted or at the very least magnified because there are interests behind, there is money to be made behind it. So let's just be clear about that. But like I said, as women, we don't do ourselves any behavior when we celebrate that. And then let me just put, even outside of online, you guys, even outside of online, like, have you ever been on a date? If you've ever been on a date, right, with somebody and they start talking about their ex, start talking about girlfriend or ex-boyfriend, or you're in a relationship with that person and they're constantly bringing up their ex, that's weird. That's weird. It's like, bro, like, can you not do that? That's weird. So even like in interpersonal relationships, we're trying to get to know somebody. If you're constantly like trauma bonding or whatever, or if you're constantly talking about all the negative experiences you've had with the opposite sex, with somebody you're in a relationship with currently, that is a big turnoff. So I'm like, this concept is, it follows us wherever we go. I would say as women, like if you legitimately are like, hey, I'm having issues with the relationship with men, I want to do better, there's a very good and constructive way to do that. Maybe get in a support group. Maybe, like I said, I would say first start with women that who are in good, healthy relationships, have been married, for some time, have raised kids or whatever. You start there. Start talking with people within your community who have proven success records. You start talking and working with them. Maybe get some training, maybe get some therapy, some relationship therapy. Maybe, like I said, maybe join a support group, maybe join a Bible study or about relationships or something. Like you have to take clear constructive action so that it's just not complaining, but it's actually you putting your foot, you putting your feet, your actions to the task so that you're getting better. But what I see a lot online is just, it's just a complaining. And yeah, it gets views, it gets attention. You have other women, it's like they can feel you, we can all feel each other. Ha ha, funny, retweet, share, cash app, super chat, whatever. But it's like nothing, not only is nothing being changed, now we're feeding into this already bad negative narrative that we have as Black women of just not knowing how to get along well with men. And whether or not you agree with me, you can vehemently disagree with me all you want, and that's totally and completely fine. But at the end of the day, as a woman, if you're wanting to be in relationships, you have got to know that your ability to complain openly in certain spaces is not a flex. It is not a flex. That men are not looking at you as a prize if you are known to go around and complain, or known around to bash, especially about men in your community. So, like I said, there has to be a way that it's done so that it's constructive, that it is healthy for you, beneficial for you, so that you can move on. And at the same time, you're not undermining actual real life prospects. So that's what I'm saying. You really legitimately have issues with men in your community, seek out healthy relationships, mentors, older women, people who already have healthy relationships, raise kids, families, grandkids, and they can maybe really work with you on a practical level, just the relationship. Seek therapy. Like I said, there's different relationship groups you can look at. Find you, like I said, maybe a Bible study to learn about relationships. Get you maybe in a 12-step program. Read some books. Do all of it, whatever you got to do. But like put actions to it. That's going to be a lot more constructive than just openly going online. You just putting stuff out there. You're saying bad stuff. Because like I said, let's just say you're online dating. Let's just say you're online dating, right? You're online dating. And we let's just be honest. We meet somebody, we figure out their name, first name, last name. You maybe do a little Google search. You maybe go do a little Yahoo search or whatever. Put that person's name in there. What's the first thing you're gonna do? See their social media accounts. If it's public, you know what I mean? Which, especially if it's Twitter, it's pretty much gonna be public. It's out there. You're gonna see what that person has to say. So you meet somebody online, dating app, you guys have a good time. She seems cool. That person goes online and sees that you tweeted something a month ago. Oh, men are trash. Oh, these dusty Black men don't know how to. That dude sees that. That dude sees you openly bashing other men online. Even if you're saying it in just for funny, he's taking that for note. He's taking note of that. And again, like I said, especially in the age of us dating is now moving more online. First impressions are now moving online. Now more than ever, our PR needs to be better. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like, this is, you can disagree with me all you want, and you can hate and be butthurt all you want, and leave all the comments that you want in the comment section. You are more than welcome to do that. But at the end of the day, it is your life. You get to look at yourself in the mirror every single day and understand if the results that you like are what you like. If you're happy with your results, fine. But if you're not, and you're one of those who are going around talking about how horrible men are all day online, and you're not happy with your relationship results, then you have to sit down with yourself and figure out why. And I'm here to tell you that one of the things that could be hurting you is openly supporting and celebrating this misandrist, this profit-making misandrist machine that we see, that it gives so much so much money to women and so many views and gets so much support. It does that, but it doesn't necessarily give us the results that we want that make us happy in relationships. It just doesn't. So again, if you're on here, get those likes up. Get those likes up. Oh, sorry, just got a just got a message. If you're on here, get those likes up. Tag anybody. Share this with someone who you think may find it interesting. Also, if you would like to show support to the show, you can find me on CASHAPP or VENMO, Chez, Chardé. So moving on. Like I said, I just wanted to briefly review these comments because I think they say a lot, I think, into just the general narrative that we see happening online, the general conversation we see happening online, and just all this stuff. all this stuff. And like I said, dudes, I'm not saying, oh, shout out to Hakeem. You're right. We should have at least 50 likes, y'all. Likes are free. Likes are free, y'all. So if you're on here, please hit that like button. I also, I've also recognized too, Hakeem, and just people in general. Like I've recognized if I have a certain amount of followings and likes stay at like a consistent level and don't go up, I also recognize that sometimes there's just hate watchers who are watching me simply because they don't like me or because they want to go report back to whoever that they are, whoever they're reporting to. So I keep that in mind. But anyways, we're talking about women, this women and our reputation, y'all, and how at the end of the day, we as Black women in particular are not known for being loyal, and we are shooting ourselves in the foot in the age in the digital age where people are dating and mating online. If we got a horrible profile where we're supporting all these male bashing channels and we're saying all this male bashing stuff, that's making us look bad, and that's also feeding into the false narrative or the narrative that we already have about Black women being combative and bad in relationships. So this is what we're talking about. Shout out to Aunt T with the 5 on the super chat. I see peace, Chez, Chardé, salute, and much love to the chat. I appreciate you. I really do. I appreciate all the support and love. Also, shout out to Christopher B with the 5 on the super chat. I see agree 100%. I agree 100%. Furthermore, Black women openly hating Black men on an investment agenda is essentially a playbook on how to attract alt-right men with a Black-white fetish. I could not agree more. I could not agree more. I'm gonna address that in some upcoming videos. So stay tuned on that. Couldn't agree more. So okay, I'm gonna move on to a few more comments because, like I said, this is what I love about y'all. This is what I really love about y'all. You give me, I don't even need to go far. Like all I gotta do is just spend a few minutes in the comment section, and I got content for days. Okay, so here's one. I see Rock and Roll Fan says either way. And again, this is in response to my tweet where I'm like, y'all, common sense. Men are attracted to loyal women. Wow, fathom that. If you do really want to divest or marry out, your best option of doing so is having a reputation or having a demeanor that shows that you know how to cooperate or get along with the people around you, period. That also includes the men within your community. So if you, like I said, are really, really interested about divesting, that's going to be your best option. The exception of that is maybe if you want to end up with like a white supremacist or some dude who like really gets off on you hating Black men because they secretly hate Black men. So maybe that will be an exception to the rule. But at that point, is that really what you want to be linked up with some guy with weird racist ideology who just has a fetish for Black women? I doubt that. I doubt that. So again, if you are, like I said, a woman who wants to attract a good man, whether he's within your ethnic group, within your race or not, your best options of doing so are actually having a reputation of knowing how to maintain good relationships. And a part of that is knowing when to speak, when not to speak, when to air dirty laundry, you know what I mean? Where, when not to, when to speak on things, when not to speak on things. I don't think going online and openly just putting all this stuff out there about how horrible men are and how horrible relationships are is a good place. I don't think that's again, that's not going to work for you in the long run. In the age of in the age of digital marketing, of digital media, where people are more on their phones than ever, when people are going on their phone first to look for potential dates, it's not going to help you in the long run when your digital profiles look misandrous. If you're a woman who wants a man, it's just not. There has to be constructive ways that we do this. So again, this is what I'm reviewing the comments and related to that. So moving to the next one. It says, either way, they say that the reason white sisters are running to white guys because Black men need to step up. But I don't see these white guys doing nothing for these Black women except screwing them and using them for sex. Some white guys get extremely hostile and will beat a woman if they think they are getting screwed over or if she isn't doing what they want. I don't want no part of any Black woman that discriminates against her own race. I won't waste my time. So here's a man basically saying, it's like, yeah, like I said, if I know a woman is over here if she just seems self-hating and she's openly being disrespectful about her community, I don't want anything to do with her. Also, by the way, there seems to be one-sided lust. This is just his perspective. You know, here's one here. Belladonna. It says the difference of other races of males, they earned loyalty and their women wanted independence. Black men don't earn nothing as they profile themselves on the news daily instead of asking black women what they bring to the table. Tom brings a house in 60 large to put you wait. Tom brings a house in 60 large to put you secure to gain loyalty. Tell me I'm lying. So basically, just sounds like she's saying, you know, other men have earned loyalty, but black men haven't. And again, this is just completely, let's just completely overlook all the men that fought, black men, the ones that waged war, literally waged war to end slavery, the black men in Africa who were fighting against the slave owner. Just forget it, forget about that. Forget all the men who put their lives on the line, some of them going free, going back and buying their wives and children out of slavery, did the different things, sacrificed their lives so that we could be free. Let's just overlook those men. Let's just overlook all the men who are working and doing different things, even throughout the civil rights movement, to help us get to where we are today. Let's forget that. Let's overlook the men who have made contributions to the internet. The fact that she can even say that means that she is not aware of the men who contributed to the internet. Black men contributed to the personal computer. Black men contributed to the cell phone, smartphone. Black men. Let's just overlook all those contributions that they did to give us some convenience that we have today, so that we even have the opportunity to complain. Let's just forget all of that. Let's just forget all of that. Forget all that. And then let's just assume that what she's saying is right. Okay, Tom brings a house and 60 large to a table. She's acting as if all white men are just are living like in some fairy tale land. She's acting like to be white is to be rich. Is she not aware that like many of these white supremacist neo-Nazi groups are made up of working class men who are primarily radicalized by financial struggle? Is she not aware of this? Is she not aware? People in the Midwest and the rural South, all white communities, they're all doing well with inflation happening right now, unemployment hitting. Everybody's doing well. White men, so a black man just if a black woman just finds a random white dude, even if he's a homeless dude, he's going to bring a house. He's going to bring wealth. Like what? Like what world are we living in, people? What world are we living in? So here's the thing. Yes, as I said before, you can find black men who are dusty. You can find white men who are dusty. It does not serve anybody. It does not serve anyone well for us to just blatantly make statements about entire people groups, especially if we come from that people group, and then think that now we're making ourselves more attractive. If you believe that white is a level up, marrying white is a level up, gosh, what guy wants to just be seen as a prop? Like I've actually, now granted, this is just social media. I haven't done like a full study on this, but there's been a few guys on social media who have been like, I've met black women who like me because I'm white, and it's weird. Like white men on Twitter or on YouTube being like, this is weird. Can you just stop worshiping me because I'm white? This is strange. Stop it. So I'm saying those kinds of beliefs, I'm like, okay, if you really do desire a healthy relationship, you coming in with the assumption that nobody in the community has done anything wrong, self-hating, my humble opinion, that self-hating, not only is it historically incorrect, it's incredibly disrespectful to those who have sacrificed so that you even have the privilege to complain like that. And then now you're other men and looking at this interaction, looking at this kind of behavior, and they're like, why would I want a part in that? Why would I want a part in that? And so here's my point. If you truly believe this as a woman, this shows that obviously you have had traumatic, hurtful, damaging situations with men in your community. This is obvious because no black woman that has had healthy interactions with men in her community is going to say this. Even if you're a woman that's had healthy interactions with men in your community and you've had bad interactions, usually if you've had good and bad, you'll be able to be objective and say, okay, that black man who did that bad thing is bad. Or that black man who did that bad thing, he has his own issues and he has his own trauma. But I've also had good experiences with black men. So therefore, it can't be that all black men are bad. It just must mean that this particular person has their own issues. This particular person has struggles. People who have engaged enough, had enough life experiences with different healthy people can be able to separate a particular person from an entire collective. And this is the issue that I see is we're not doing that. We're just not doing that. It's just we're just completely clumping everybody into groups, saying all these really destructive things mindlessly, and then complaining about the fact that we don't. It's hard for us to find good men. Well, it's like, well, duh. If you come off as somebody who is maybe disloyal or just misandrist or just combative, or you don't know how to get along with people in your community, men are not checking for you like that. Maybe as a side piece at best. Maybe you'll go on a few dates and they'll throw a couple, few $100 in your face in exchange for some sex or whatever. But it's just like, it's as far as, wow, this is a woman that I really see as a good option. Wow, this is a quality. That's not the kind of behavior that we want to exhibit. It's not helping us. Again, y'all, if you're on here, get those likes up. Get those likes up. Tag anybody on this discussion. Share it with someone that you think may find it interesting. Also, feel free to show some love and support on the super chat. I will be sure to acknowledge our super chats. We're talking about just women. And I see mental health is a serious thing and is severely overlooked. And you know what, Hakeem, I'm glad you said that, because I'm actually going to be having on next week, I'm going to be having on a special guest who she's a mental health advocate. So I'm excited for her to share her story. She's going to be coming on. Stay tuned for that. I will be curious to see how many views that live gets. Because for all the detractors out there who talk about how, all you talk about is the bad thing or the divestors or the issues, or all you do is blame women for all that. Anytime I do something positive or constructive, I always see lower viewership. So I'll be curious to see how many views I get in that particular stream where I talk about mental health. That's going to be interesting. Stay tuned. Okay, so we move on. Let's see. Yeah, let's get those likes up to 75 people. 75. Also, CASHAPPs, super chats are open. So we're going to move on. It says, as a matter of fact, a woman bashing men in general is a huge red flag. It is always his fault when something wrong with her. Rather, haters will hate, users will use. I agree. Like I said, this is across the board. Women, it don't matter. It don't matter who you are, where you are, what your ethnicity, race. It's just bad PR. Like no one likes being around complainers. Who likes being around people who are negative all the time? No one likes that. No one finds that attractive or appealing. We don't. So just because you complain and you get 50 retweets and 100 likes and 200 shares, great. That may make you feel like you got some attention, but is that going to now translate into actual real life benefits in your relationship? Probably not. Probably not. And all I'm saying, to me, what we're talking about, to me, this is common sense. This is, I think, at the end of the day, ladies, in the world of digital, we live in a world of like the digital age. Whether or not you like it, that just is what it is. When people are dating, people are going online and dating. They are oftentimes now starting on their phone, starting on the computer. So again, if you have a reputation online where you are promoting, supporting, and openly sharing messages of your bad, negative relationships with men, sharing messages that are misandrist, sharing messages that speak to male bashing, that is what you have in your social media accounts. Now you're trying to link up with the dude online. You want a serious relationship. He finds out your first and last name. He follows you on social media. He sees that a week ago you tweeted that all men are trash, or these black men are dusties, or these black men don't even know how to die right, or something horrible like that. You think he's going to look at you and be like, oh yeah, sign me up for her. That's wife material. All she does is complain about men all day. That's wife material. Do you really think men are going to do that? Do you really think that is a level up, that is a plus, that is a flex? No. So that's what I'm saying. Women, especially in the age of social media, again, I'm not saying that you cannot share and talk about, actually you should. If you really do believe this about men, you should address it. You shouldn't stuff it. You should not say it. You should address it. I am just saying, I am proposing that we do it in a constructive manner. That's it. That we do it in a manner that's going to be constructive and that's going to be helpful. It's going to actually lead to better outcomes. As I mentioned before, if you have these real beliefs about men, if you have nothing but trauma responses or trauma feelings when it comes to men, especially men from your community, maybe it's time to seek out therapy. Maybe you want to speak out spiritual counseling in the church or biblical counseling. Maybe you want to start working with women in your life who have successful results around relationships. If there are not women in your life who have successful results around relationships, it is time to expand your circle. Seek things out. Seek out practical things that are going to help you. Get around people that actually have results that are good. Work through those issues, those traumas. Like I said, do it with an expert. Do it with a spiritual leader. Do it with both. Maybe find support groups. Those are constructive ways of doing about it. Those are constructive ways of saying, this is how I feel. Here's my experience. Here's what I'm going through. And then somebody who's, more experienced, who maybe can see things differently or from a healthier perspective, can help you navigate those different traumas. It can help you navigate those different woes and give you constructive ways of overcoming. That is a easy and helpful and constructive way to do it. But like I said, simply getting online, trashing men all the time, supporting channels that do it, it can make you feel good. You can maybe get some, solace in other women having same experiences and feel good for a few seconds or even a few minutes. But is that going to give you the results that you want? Is that going to work in your favor? In an age of digital marketing where people are now checking out social media accounts, it's probably not. It's going to work against you, especially as a Black woman where we have a reputation for not necessarily being the most loyal or for being combative or for not knowing how to get along with our men. It is definitely going to work against us even more so. This is just common sense, ladies. It's common sense, but for whatever reason, common sense is not so common. So, this is what we're talking about. Again, guys, if you're on here, get those likes up. Get those likes up. I'm just briefly reviewing a few comments, and then I think I'm going to sign off for the day. So I see this. What do other races think about a group of men who hate their women but cry bloody murder when the women start to seek other alternatives? Yeah, so I will say this. I don't pretend to be I see live esters are worse than live. Oh gosh. Hey Kevin, what's going on? Shout out to Mr. Bobby Wright, who's everywhere all the time. Hey guys, see you in the comment section. Again, guys, if you're just hopping on here, get those likes up. Also show support to the show. You can hit the super chat. Also, you can find me on CASHAPP or VENMO. We're just briefly going over these lovely, lovely females and how loyal or unloyal they are. And I'm talking about how our lack of loyalty, or not even a lack of loyalty, our just blatant disrespect is not a flex, and it works against us in the age of digital marketing, dating online. When people check out people's social profiles, it's just not a good look. Y'all tell me I'm lying. Let me know if I'm like, am I wrong? Have any of you guys in the comment section, you wanted to date a lady, you were interested in a woman, right? Then you go check out her social media accounts, check out what she was doing, and something she says, something she did, something she posted just gave you a huge red flag. Let me know if I'm lying. I know it's that way for women. I know there's been plenty of times I've talked to some of my friends, and they're in the dating, they're like, dating a dude, they meet somebody online, and so we'll go and we'll do like a Facebook search or we'll do like a Twitter search, and we will like straight up do a full thorough investigation. I'm talking LinkedIn, I'm talking Twitter, Instagram. Like, we are investigating, looking to see what did he say, what did he post, and from those interactions, we are piecing together our understanding of this person. Women do it, so I know men. I know men do. I know men too, right? So like I said, I'm not lying here. I'm not lying here. So most of my friends are right. So how would you know that? First of all, how would you know that? Because actually that's not true. And second of all, how? So you're saying only white people do that? You're saying Black people don't go online? Like what? Like, I don't make any sense. I'm confused. Anyways, let me move on. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So again, here, so she's saying, yeah, other races think. So basically she's assuming that all races. So if there's this assumption that other communities are looking at Black men and Black women as a separate unit, that's a fallacy. That's a fallacy, y'all. There never a time in history have people looked at men and women as different communities. Now, we like to act like that in the Black community because we got so much dysfunction. But don't think that other communities are looking at us from just like, oh wow, these poor, treating black women as differently as black men, or you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we know systematically men and women are treated different when it comes to certain things. But as far as if you're a black woman, they're seeing you as a black woman. They're seeing you outside of this black community. You're being seen as a black woman coming from a black community, period. You can't get away from that. So I think sometimes this language to me shows it assumes that we are treated as like this like alternate, almost this alternate race or ethnicity. We can even see that sometimes when there's, like what was that one initiative that Obama, gosh, I'm the name is blanking on me, but initiative that he had done to try to uplift black men. And then, you had black women being like, oh, well, why aren't you focusing on black women? And, we've kind of seen this theme of like, okay, there's something that happens in the black community. And if it focuses on men, then it's like, oh, why isn't it for women? And it's as if we're competing. We're not from the same community. And I think that's a fallacy, because not only if we think that way, does that just create more of a division, more of a division, and makes the community weaker. The reality is now, let's just assume that's true. Let's just assume, okay, black women are a subgroup, sub race, subcategory, or whatever. Now these whole, okay, black men don't protect us. Why aren't black men protecting us? It's like, well, crap. If you have separated yourself, if you treat yourself as a separate community, are they obligated to? So, I mean, I just think this whole idea that we are seen separately, we are seen distinctively, we are portrayed distinctively versus us being a collective is the issue. And this also assumes, this comment to me, this also assumes that women cannot do harm. That is far from true. That is far. Yeah, you see, My Brother's Keeper. Right. It was that one. My Brother's Keeper. Yes. That's what you're talking about. That's like I said, this assumes that when men are always the perpetrators and women are always the victims. Yeah, let's just be honest. Black women, I think it's about 55% of black women are obese. Chantel just did a live on this not too long ago. Shout out to Chantel Simone. About 55% of black women are obese. Not, overweight, not, okay, a little pudgy, obese. So let's just not sit here and pretend like you got all these, big, beautiful women sitting around being taken advantage of and then going to put a hurting on somebody. Let's just not assume that these are just some frail, thin, weak, weak bone, frail bone women that are just sitting around being thrown around walls and they can't put a hurting on nobody. If you are, by average, larger, like physically larger than men, like I said, 55% of us are overweight. And then if we just look at the violence, bi-directionality, and all that kind of different stuff, that's a whole different topic, y'all. The evidence clearly shows that violence, we are hurting each other. We are hurting each other. So again, this also assumes that black women are just sitting around being docile, weak, frail-minded, frail-bodied women that are just being bloodily murdered by these men. They're just being taken advantage of. And that they're just being hated and they're just being, all of this. And it's just like, no, we're hurting each other. We're just hurting each other. Yeah, please show me evidence of that. Because according to the CDC, I think it was about 55%. So if you have evidence to suggest otherwise, I'm happy to review. But she just shared this. She did a live about this thing like a week or two ago. Not only is she a personal trainer, Chantel Simone I think she's a certified nutritionist. Her entire background is health. So if I'm going to believe anybody, it's going to believe I'm going to listen to an expert who's been in the space, is in the space today, currently training, currently working with clients, et cetera, et cetera. So happy for you to show the source that would suggest otherwise. I know we can argue as to whether or not the BMI is racist. Yes, there are obviously components about the BMI that are absolutely and totally discriminatory based upon body type. I agree. I personally think that percentage body weight is a healthier indication. I asked my personal trainer about this, and she was like, "Yeah, percentage body fat is a better indication." But at the end of the day, yeah. At the end of the day, it's like we already know whether it's percentage body fat or its BMI, many of us are unhealthy. Like we don't need to get that deep. So Hakeem says, it says the stats for 50% plus were obese, over 70% were overweight, and that's being lenient. Yeah, yeah. So it's around there. It's around there. Like I said, don't quote me on that. I thought she said it was 55% or 50%. The numbers could be off by a few percentages. I'm not saying it's an exact number, but either way, no matter how we spin it, majority of us are overweight, period. This cannot be disputed. Majority of us are overweight and many of us are obese. So we can get all bent out of shape about the exact percentage and say, oh, well, you said 49% or 55%. It's only 44 or 54.2%. It's like, okay, I'm a couple percentage off. At the end of the day, we know many of us are struggling and we're not getting anywhere. We're not doing anything productive if we're getting all caught up in the numbers and not dealing with the fact that many of us are just unhealthy. Point blank. But anyways, I move on. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know that I agree with that point, y'all. Like I'm trying to understand where she's coming from, but like I said, I think in my humble opinion, that just assumes so much. It assumes that men are always violent and women are never violent, which is not true. It also assumes that black men or black women are like they're seen as completely different, like subgroup subcategories. We're now treating ourselves as if we are competing bodies. And I think that is one of the main problems. Here's one. Barbie, is that eunuch? Yeah. Okay. She says, I'm not American and I don't reside in America, but Black American men are notorious and internationally for being so verbal about their hatred for Black women. Should Black women continue to publicly proclaim their love for Black men who are doing the exact opposite? Says publicly loving someone who doesn't love you back makes you look stupid to the world. But if you're okay with that, do you, boo boo? As long as y'all happy with all that hatred y'all getting from Black men. So, a couple of things I have to say with this comment. Okay, so first of all, you say you're not American, you don't reside in America. So how would you know how we are perceived internationally? Just because you're living in another country, great, in another place, great. How do you even know? Have you done, like, I don't know, a peer reviewed study? Have you done a survey? Have you done, like, how do you know the way that we are perceived? The Black community, Black men in particular, are perceived internationally. To me that's curious. For being so verbal about their hatred for Black women. So and again, we can point fingers. I mean, for every German shepherds we've also seen the abort Black male babies. We've seen the Dusties. We've seen the 3 trash bag beta male. I mean, listen, both sides are guilty. So we could sit here and argue and debate the next hour about who said more BS. Both sides have perpetuated and said evil things about one another. We've seen this on the male side. We've seen this on the female side. Period. Point blank in the discussion. I don't think anybody can argue with that. Both sides have said and done evil things. I have experienced it. I have experienced hateful things being said to me by women. I've experienced hateful things being said by men. No, I don't go and say, oh, all Black men are hateful, all people are hateful, all Black women are hateful, all Black men are hateful, all Black people are hateful. No, I understand that there are sick people in the Black community who are men and women, and I treat it accordingly. I don't make blatant statements about the entire Black community because I've had a few negative interactions. Then it says, should Black women continue to publicly proclaim their love for Black men who are doing the exact opposite? I'm trying to think, when in the history, or at least the last, okay, even if I just stick to the last few decades, when in the history of the last few decades have Black women overwhelmingly proclaimed time and time again their love for Black men? When, please help me understand. Remind me of a time, remind me of an era where it was just so common, where we just saw Black women bending over backwards to just love and dote on and worship and admire the Black men with no pushback. Please point me to an era in time where Black women were always so blindly loyal to their men. I have yet to find that. I have yet to find an era, a time, a situation where there has not been extreme dissension, at the very least in America, largely because of our history. We can go all the way back to the Daughters of the Trade. Shout out to Crimson Cure. Shout out to Crimson Cure in the building. It's always good to have you here. I can go all the way back to the Daughters of the Trade, y'all. This is women. These are collaborators on the African continent who collaborated with Europeans, who European settlers and imperialists sold out their men and their women, sold out their brothers and sisters and cousins in order to get resources. This mindset of not being loyal has been happening for decades, if not centuries. So so again, please remind me a time and an era. All I'm hearing is narrative, but I have yet to see historical references that point to the fact that an entire generation or the majority of a generation was blindly loyal to a group of men. I have never seen that. If anything, we've seen collaborators on both sides, black men and black women who collaborated with people in order to sell their brothers and sisters out. We've seen it on both sides. But that's what I'm saying. Like that when I speak of the daughters of the trade, I'm saying that because that happened hundreds of years ago, but that same spirit and that same mentality continues today. So that's what I'm saying. We can throw all these narratives and we can talk about, oh well, my friend or this cousin, or well, how about that series sitcoms or these movies. We can point to fairy tale situations all the time, but where in real life have we seen this? We've certainly seen feminism. We've seen women saying for the last how many decades, we're tired of being blind and loyal. Okay, when was there a time that you were blind and loyal? Please help me understand. Let me know. Let me know. I will continue. And oh, and then one more thing. One more thing. Nowhere, nowhere, nowhere. And to me, this comment right here speaks to the misandry, the assumption of misandry. And I said this before. Me saying being loyal to your man, being loyal to somebody you're in a relationship with, is not me saying that you should publicly love someone who you hate. The fact that anytime I put men and loyalty in the same sentence, the assumption is abuse. The assumption is misogyny. The assumption is that you as a woman are now being belittled and you are now being berated. Again, speaks to the misandrist ideology that many of us women hold, and we don't even know it. We don't even know it. You see men, you see loyalty, men in authority, you see men submit in the same sentence, and you have a gut trauma reaction. You react emotionally. You're not even hearing what I'm saying. Nowhere did I say, nowhere did I ever say that you are to put yourself in a position to be abused. No one ever said that. I would never recommend that. I would never recommend any woman be in a situation where she's a doormat, she's abused. No, no. I'm trying to make a distinction between toxic feminine behavior, which attracts toxic men, which perpetuates toxic feminine behavior. It is a gross cycle. If you're a woman who is healthy, you're going to be more inclined to attract healthy. And then the idea of you being loyal to your man is not a threat, because it's like, well, duh, of course I want to honor somebody that honors me back. This is not rocket science, people. This is not rocket science. So to me, and like I said, yeah, no one deserves to be abused. Of course, I would never, ever say that. But the fact that nowhere did I mention abuse, and the fact that the thing that comes out the mouth is, oh well, abuse. You're telling these women to be loyal to men who hate them. What is that saying about how you view men? Of course, I can point to online and find men who have said disgusting things about women. I have been on the receiving end of that because I will share historical facts that are not in line with someone's narrative. Fine. I've been on the receiving end of that from men. So I'm not saying this hasn't happened from, I have received evil, negative things from men online. Let me say this. Okay. But again, that I know enough to know that just because that one or those group of men who are unwell mentally, spiritually, emotionally, just because they have something disgusting to say, does not mean that now, therefore, an entire generation of Black men have to be held responsible for their bad actions. There needs to be a distinction. And that's what I'm saying. Many of us women, we haven't even had good experiences with men, and it shows in the way that we have trauma responses to just basic common sense ideas. Like, this is not rocket science, people. It's not rocket science. Okay. Again, if you're on here, please get those likes up. Get those likes up. Tag anybody on this discussion. Share it with somebody who you think may find it interesting. Also, if you would like to show support to this show, you can find me on Cash App or Venmo, Chez, Chardé. I will also be sure to acknowledge all super chats. I'm just briefly going over why, at the end of the day, we as women undermine ourselves. We undermine ourselves when we continue to support, perpetuate, and promote misandrous behavior. Not only do we just undermine our own personal spiritual development, we undermine our ability to actually find healthy relationships. Because, by the way, we live in the age of digital where people are dating online. So again, if you have bad online etiquette, that is going to impact any potential success you could have when it comes to dating, because people are searching you out online. First impression, you meet a person, you've probably done it. If you're online dating, you've probably done it yourself. You meet a person, you find out their name, you go online to do a YouTube search, you check out their social media, you see what they're saying. That undermines their success. It says, yeah, it's amazing to me that so many women reach to a dysfunctional relationship to prove a point. Why don't we think relationships and healthy go together? That is bars. That is absolute bars. And that's what I'm saying. Like, already, these responses to me show it's like it is a trauma response. So it's like, I'm not even necessarily like mad. I'm not even mad at, when I see this reactive behavior, because I know it's coming from a broken place. But it's like, we can't, like, can we actually, once we get past the emotions and the feelings, can we actually just acknowledge what's being said and recognize that if your assumption is that me getting in a relationship or me acting like a woman, right, or like being, I guess, in my feminine, however you want to put it, if me doing that or being that in a relationship with a man associates with trauma and abuse, I'm like, unpack that, please. Please go seek that out. Like, that's not normal. I'm here to tell you that if you think being in a relationship with a man or a black man automatically assumes you're going to be beat, abused, and violated or whatever it may be, please unpack that. That's not healthy. That's not everybody's such a scenario. It's not. And that's something worth seeking out and getting healing over versus just blatantly blaming a group of men and then thinking you're going to have better options outside of a community that is going to be less inclined to want to accept you. Please, please, please. So I don't understand, I don't understand for some of you detractors in there why you were so married to the fact of promoting propaganda. Um, why you're so married to trying to paint this narrative that black men are just been so disloyal. Like, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? I'm I'm really trying to understand, like, why. What does that need? What does that need to just be so right when history speaks to something so different? We know that men and women, if you want to talk about who was being disloyal to who, we know that there were collaborators on both sides, men and women. There were black men on the African continent who collaborated, and there were plenty of more who did not, who were fighting against it. Same with women. There are women who collaborated. I spoke to Daughters of the Trade. Plenty of more who did not, who were fighting against it. So it's like, we can sit here and point the fingers, but what that deflection does is it removes culpability in your own life. It removes the ability for you to sit here and be accountable and say, okay, you know what? Fine, I'm wrong. It's like, if you are so hell bent, and I say hell bent because at that point you are literally, your soul is positioned towards hellish thinking. If you are hell bent on believing that everybody else is the problem and that a particular people group or men is the problem, if you are married to that toxic idea, you are not living in peace. You are not living in happiness. You are feeding on toxicity. And this is why there is this trauma bond response. It's unhealthy, people. It is unhealthy. It's just it is what it is. Um okay, so I think I'm gonna try to wrap this up. You guys, if you're on here again, get those likes up, tag anybody, share this with anyone that you think may find it interesting. And like I said, I wanted to touch upon this because I thought it was pretty interesting. This will be my last comment, then I wrap this up, guys. I'm gonna wrap this up. Let me see, because let me just scroll through, see if I can see something. I got some comments. Yeah, so I'm gonna shout out to Malarkey 5. I see it's like the woman who bashes her no good ex-boyfriend while in a relationship with a new boyfriend, or a woman let lets it known to her ex she has a new boyfriend. Clearly she is fixated on her ex, not her present boyfriend. Swirl isn't diverse as anyone. Oh, Malarkey 5. Malarkey. Um so you guys really okay. Again, here's my bigger point. You guys got the picture. There's like over 300 comments on there where you see people going back and forth. So you said Merlaki gives them receipts. Yes, she does. Merlaki gives them receipts. She really does. It is like I said, if you really want to get deep in there, you can. There's over 300 comments. I haven't even seen all of them. I do my best to try to respond. Past a certain point, I'm just like, I gotta keep it pushing, y'all. I'm busy trying to create content for y'all. You can go and have fun in that comment section. But at the end of the day, again, all I'm trying to say is, ladies, if you're having a really, really, if you're having a trauma negative, like knee jerking response to me saying that a woman being loyal to her man is common sense, if that idea infuriates you, makes you upset, angry, want to pull out your hair, want to call me a mammy or pick me, want to do all kinds of things over me stating something that is clearly common sense, I would encourage you to really sit with yourself and acknowledge the fact that you were likely having a trauma response. Literally, like what Crimson Cure said, she's like, why anytime we bring up relationships, especially within the context of the Black community, is it always associated with like trauma and hatred, like as if it's not possible to have a healthy relationship? It absolutely is. Nowhere have I ever said, and will I ever say, that any woman of any race or ethnic group should be with a man that is abusive. I have never said that, and I will never say that. No, you should not be loyal to an abusive man. You should not be loyal to a man that will speak down on you, that will disrespect you, that will be no, no, no. The assumption here is that already once you're in a relationship with a man, he has already shown himself that he is worth being in a relationship with. That is the assumption. The problem is, many of us actually, at the end of the day, don't even know how to pick. Our pickers are off. Our pickers are wrong. And it's because we have our own stuff that we haven't dealt with. And instead of us acknowledging our own issues in the way that we have digged ourselves in the hole, or the bad situations we've had in the past, the undealt with trauma, the buried feelings, the way that we feel when we see a particular person, the way we get anxious or upset or angry or furious when we see a certain thing, instead of us acknowledging those things, it's actually just a lot easier to blame Black men or to just find a scapegoat. It's a lot easier. But the problem becomes if you decide that you actually do desire a romantic relationship, whether it's with somebody in your community or outside, with you want to divest, you want to marry out, whatever. However you spin it, men like loyal women. Men like women who have proven that they actually know how to conduct themselves, period. And of course, it goes all the way around. Like, no one wants to be around a man who's complaining all the time about how horrible his women are, how horrible the women are in his relation, women are in his community, how horrible his past exes have been. Like, no one likes being around complaining people. So this goes really both ends. But especially for women, we make ourselves look bad, period. We already have bad reputations. We can argue as to why, but either way, we are not known for being the cooperative or, easy to deal with. We're not known for having the best attitudes. Y'all know this. We were born into that. It just is what it is. So we already have a bad reputation. And then we go online and we support things, and sometimes we even say things that further instigate that bad narrative. And then we complain about why it's hard for us to find good men. Like I said, especially if you're in the online dating space, you gotta recognize that the way people are connecting these days is online. And if you are engaged in that misandrous trauma bonding sector of social media, and that person goes, they connect with you online, and maybe the initial response is cool. They see what you've been doing, seeing what you're saying on social media, and they see that misandrist, male bashing, male hating trauma response online. That's a red flag. They may still go out with you just to have fun, maybe just to sleep around, but they're not looking at you as a long term. Like primarily, they're not going to be looking at you as a long term if they see that kind of behavior. And that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. No one is telling you that you need to be loyal to a bad dusty. That's common sense. Get with somebody healthy. If you don't know what that means, then it's probably time that you deal with that. Like I said, seek out therapy. You know what I mean? Maybe seek out some good biblical counseling about what does it mean to actually have a healthy relationship. Maybe talk to a pastor, go to a support group, seek women out in your community that have healthy relationships, healthy families, have maybe raised a few kids. And if you're not around women who are in healthy relationships, it is time for you to expand your circle. It is time for you to expand your circle. Right. So it says, what I see, it says, no one was buying women for slavery. The purpose of slavery is labor. Women don't do the same work as men. Black women weren't the objective. They were enslaved to specifically be. Yeah, you're right. Black women were brought over later on. Earlier on, it was primarily men. Black women were brought on later on as your point, mostly to breed. Absolutely right. But anyway, that's what I'm saying, y'all. So like I said, this is just common sense. But the fact that, yet again I post and I see, to me, something that's pretty common sense, and I see all this response shows me that there's a lot here. And while there's really a lot of negative things that I've seen the men say online about women that I've been in the receiving end in. So I'm not saying that doesn't happen. There's plenty of negative things. Women are not innocent bystanders in that. And we promote that and celebrate that and think it's cute, and it's not. It's undermining any potential healthy prospects we could have. And I think instead of us getting sucked into that trauma bonding sector of social media, YouTube, whatever it may be, it will be a lot better for us to take those negative experiences and address them in healthier manners. Like I said, therapy, biblical counseling, different mentors, maybe read books, do whatever you got to do to deal with that trauma, and also learn the tools if you didn't get it. That's going to be a lot more constructive. Sharing maybe those beliefs to somebody who was qualified to address them and to maybe point you to a different perspective, versus going online spewing some hatred. Maybe you get a few retweets, maybe you get a few likes, some shares, some comments, maybe you get a few women who agree with you. Now you feel better, now they feel better, but it doesn't change the situation. It just doesn't change the situation at all. So y'all, this is common sense again. Appreciate you guys for being here. What up, Snugs? What up, Snuggles? I said, drop the link. I would like to see you and Crimson have a conversation. Crimson is always, 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 always welcome. Okay, do you guys, let me think. I have a few minutes. Do you guys want a call in on this? I was going to wrap this up. Do you guys want to call in? Picked more to get passed around, guys. If you like what you're seeing, if you want to call in, show some support, guys. Hit the likes, hit the like button. The like button. The super chats are open, you guys. Awesome. Yeah, I think I would agree with Hakeem. We need some more likes and a couple super chats if you want to call in. See, I like Hakeem style. He's rooting for me. Listen, guys, on also tune in tomorrow. I haven't scheduled it yet, but I know we had a call last week, y'all. Where what was it? We were talking about, your dating preferences racist. So I know many of y'all said you wanted to do a call in. So I'm gonna try to do a call in show tomorrow too. So stay tuned. I haven't scheduled it yet, but I'm gonna try to do that once I get off this show. Stay tuned for that, another call in show. But yeah, like I said, these women need lots of prayer and lots of counseling. I would agree. All of the above. All of the above. Never laugh. You guys in the comments section, like I said, it's funny because I don't even really need to go far to get content. I really don't. You guys always keep me entertained. No, sometimes I got to step away because between, like I said, I got a few hate watchers. This is not an echo chamber, so I don't try to just silence you just because I don't agree. Now, if I think you're promoting propaganda or just have downright intentions, then it becomes a problem. But I try to let this be a place where people can share their different perspectives, whether we agree or disagree, because I think that's actually how somebody actually comes to the right conclusion. And it's not just we're free thinkers. We have free will. So you shouldn't be afraid to talk about certain things. So like I said, I try to create that platform. Um, unless somebody is just being blatantly what I think, just be blatantly they have bad intentions, then I'm gonna have to block them. And then what's crazy? Sometimes those people come back in other accounts. There's just been this one account in particular I blocked I think like 2 times, and I keep on seeing them coming back. Like they got the same picture, but it's a different name, and I see them saying the same BS, and I'm like, didn't I block you like 2 times? Like this is weird. Oh, it's so weird. So, anyways, guys, so yeah, I think y'all, I'm about to sign this off. I think I'm gonna sign off. Do have another live tomorrow. So if you guys want to tune in tomorrow. Show your support, show your love. Like I said, you can find me on CASHAPP or VENMO. And definitely tune in. I think we're gonna try to make it a call-in show tomorrow. It'll be a different topic. It's gonna be a spin-off of the conversation we had last week. But tune in for that. I'm not seeing anybody in here saying that a call-in is necessary. So I think I'm gonna sign off, guys. So, anyways, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you for being here, for hanging out. All good. If you're late, you can catch the replay. It's not going anywhere. At least I don't think so. And catch me later. Anyways, we'll talk later, guys. Peace.